लेना बहुत जरूरी है।
Okay, so if you've scrolled through social media at all lately, you might think all of India is completely obsessed with protein. I mean, it's everywhere, right? But is that the real story? Well, today, we're going to cut through all that noise to get to the surprising truth about what Indians are really eating.
All right, let me just ask you something. Does your social media feed feel like a constant stream of protein powders, ads for meat delivery, and fitness gurus telling you to eat more protein? If you're sitting there nodding along, I get it. You're not alone. It really does feel like everyone is talking about it. But here's the thing. Who is everyone? And that, right there, is the crux of it. The internet, especially social media, is an expert at creating this powerful illusion. What feels like a huge, universal trend is often just a mirror, reflecting your own interests right back at you. It's basically a custom-built reality, just for you. It's not the whole picture, not by a long shot. So think about it like this. You watch one video about working out. Boom, the algorithm sees that. And suddenly it starts thinking, hey, this person might be into protein supplements. And just like that, your feed is flooded with ads for them. It's not some huge national trend, it's just a really smart algorithm doing exactly what it was designed to do. Create your own little bubble.
And this is where the two worlds really collide, right? On one hand, you've got this slick online world of whey protein ads and fancy meat delivery apps, but on the other hand, you have the actual day-to-day reality for the vast majority of India, which is all about traditional meals of rice, roti, and dal bought from the local vegetable seller, not some shiny app.
And you know, this marketing, it is laser-focused. These ads for pricey supplements and home-delivered meat, they're almost all aimed at the wealthiest 1% of urban Indians. They're the ones who can actually afford this stuff. So what feels like this massive nationwide conversation is really just an echo chamber for a tiny slice of the population.
Okay, so this is where everything we've talked about gets flipped on its head. We've been looking at this illusion of a protein-obsessed country, but the actual data, it tells a completely different and honestly a pretty shocking story. The real crisis isn't the hype, it's a huge hidden deficit. Just look at that number for a second, 73%. According to a major survey, nearly 3/4 of people in urban India are not getting enough protein. So forget all that talk about obsession. We are talking about a massive, widespread deficiency. This is the real story.
All right, let's dive into it. What is India's real protein problem, and what's behind this huge gap between what we see online and what's actually happening?
So what does that even mean, protein deficient? It sounds kind of clinical, right? But it's so fundamental. I mean, protein is literally the building block for, well, everything. It's what repairs your cells, it builds muscle, and it creates the little soldiers, the antibodies that fight off viruses and keep your immune system strong. So this isn't just about feeling a little sluggish. We're talking about a national health issue here.
And if you look at the numbers, the gap is pretty stark. The Indian Council of Medical Research suggests about 70 to 80 grams of protein a day for the average adult. But what's the average urban Indian actually getting? Just over 60 grams. And that little gap? Well, day after day, week after week, it really adds up. It's like a slow leak, chipping away at the nation's health.
So the big question is, why? How did we get here? Well, it really boils down to three big things: what's on our plates, what we believe about protein, and of course, economics. Look, our food is amazing, right? But let's be honest, it's very carb-heavy. Lots of roti, rice, dosa, and even for those who aren't vegetarian, most don't eat meat or eggs every single day. For vegetarians, the challenge is even bigger. I mean, to get enough protein just from dal, you'd need to eat about 3 whole cups of it to hit that 60-gram target. I mean, who does that? That is a lot of dal. And then you've got all the myths floating around. So much misinformation. Get this, a survey from 2020 found that 70% of Indian moms, who, let's face it, are often making the food decisions for the whole family, believe things like protein is just for bodybuilders, or that it actually causes weight gain. So, of course, protein gets pushed to the back burner. It's seen as something you don't really need, or maybe even something that's bad for you.
Okay, so this is super important. It's not just about cramming in more protein. It's about choosing the right kind of protein. The kind that actually heals your body, especially your gut.
You'd need to eat about 3 whole cups of it to hit that 60-gram target. I mean, who does that? That is a lot of dal.
And then you've got all the myths floating around. So much misinformation. Get this. A survey from 2020 found that 70% of Indian moms, who, let's face it, are often making the food decisions for the whole family, believe things like protein is just for bodybuilders, or that it actually causes weight gain. So, of course, protein gets pushed to the back burner. It's seen as something you don't really need, or maybe even something that's bad for you. Okay, so this is super important. It's not just about cramming in more protein. It's about choosing the right kind of protein. The kind that actually heals your body, especially your gut.
Just like Ma used to make.
So what exactly makes a protein gut-friendly? Basically, it's got to be easy for your body to digest. No struggling, no bloating. It should be low in the kinds of fats that slow everything down, and ideally, it should actually help out the good bacteria that live in your gut. That's how you get all the good stuff without feeling, uncomfortable.
So let's look at some of the superstars here. Eggs, for example, are pretty much nature's perfect protein packet. Your body can use almost all of it. For all my vegetarian friends, moong dal is your best friend. It's the easiest dal to digest by far, especially if you give it a good soak first. And you can't go wrong with things like homemade dahi, lean chicken, or fatty fish. They all do a great job fueling your body and keeping your gut happy.
Okay, let's talk about some common mistakes, because a lot of us make them. So many people blame dal for, gas. But 99% of the time, the real problem is just not soaking or cooking it right. Or they'll pick a high-fat paneer, which is just tougher to digest. And this is a big one. People forget that when you up your protein, you have to up your fiber and water too. Protein doesn't cause constipation. A lack of fiber and water does.
All right, we've busted the social media myth. We've talked about gut-friendly foods. Now, let's make this super practical. Let's break it down into a simple 4-step plan you can actually use. Step 1 is simple. Just recognize the gap. Acknowledge that, hey, maybe my diet is a bit low on protein, just like most people's. Step 2, measure. For just a couple of days, track what you eat. You just can't fix what you don't measure. Then, step 3, do a quick calculation. Figure out what your body needs. A good starting point is about 1 gram of protein for every kilo you weigh. And finally, step 4 is to bridge that gap. Start by adding those amazing whole foods we talked about. Seriously, do that first before you even think about supplements. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one simple question. This isn't about some crazy diet overhaul tomorrow. It's about small, simple, consistent changes. Maybe it's adding an egg to your breakfast, or a bowl of dahi with lunch, or just swapping in some moong dal for dinner. So what's that one small thing you can do for your plate